Alright my friends, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a fantasy fight breakdown request video. Brock Lesnar versus Mark the Hammer Coleman. And before I get into this video guys, I just want to wish Mark the Hammer Coleman a speedy recovery. He's an absolute legend of the sport. He unfortunately suffered a heart attack. It seems like he's going to be okay. But once again, Hammer, please get better. The fans love you. First UFC heavyweight champ and pioneer. If you guys want to show Coleman some love, hit him up on Instagram. Alright guys, so let's get into this fantasy fight. Okay, so both of these guys, physical specimens, monsters, behemoths, whatever you guys want to call it. Mark Coleman, 6'1", has went up to like 250 pounds of muscle. Brock Lesnar, 6'3". He would have to actually cut weight to make the UFC 265 pound limit. Viking, flat out. Lesnar, NCAA Division I champ, had a stellar amateur wrestling career. Mark Coleman, even more decorated, multiple gold medals in international competitions, Olympic caliber wrestler. So, as they say, there's levels to everything, and Mark Coleman, the more decorated, more talented wrestler. But what about a mixed martial arts fight, Prime versus Prime, Lesnar versus Coleman? A fight isn't all about wrestling, and a lot comes into play. Lesnar's physicality and athleticism would bridge a lot of that gap. I'm not saying that he would out-wrestle Coleman, but in the mixed martial arts setting where you have strikes and other things into play, the wrestling would be a lot closer. In their absolute prime, who developed the better striking? Well, the very best we've seen of Lesnar as far as the stand-up versus the very best we've seen of Coleman, I gotta give it to Brock Lesnar. I think Lesnar developed a little bit more standing in his career. Coleman kind of had basic stand-up to get by and set up the takedown, where he really shined with ground and pound, godfather of ground and pound of course, and back in the day, brutal headbutts were allowed. If Coleman got on top of you, you were going to get smashed. Cardio and athleticism overall, I'm gonna have to give it to Lesnar. Not to say that Mark had bad cardio for being so big, because there were times where he actually impressed you. He would go through a hard fight with all that muscle mass and not be completely dead. Kind of impressive honestly, but cardio and conditioning is kind of relative. It really depends how a fight plays out. If we're talking about grappling and wrestling, Coleman could go for days because his body is conditioned for that, similar to Khabib. But overall, once again, stamina, cardio, ability physically, I'm gonna have to give it to Brock Lesnar. Toughness and grit, some of you guys might disagree, but I think Coleman, those old school guys are just built differently. Mark Coleman, Don Fry, Shamrock, we're talking the old school guys, pioneers, when they were fighting with like way less rules, multiple fights a night. And watching Mark Coleman's career over the years, Coleman's one of the toughest guys to ever step in a ring or cage. I do think that he's more mentally tough than Brock Lesnar, just an absolute savage. So ultimately guys, who do I think would win this fight if we had a time machine? Prime versus Prime. Well, as much as I love Mark Coleman, I think overall I would give the edge to Brock Lesnar. I think he developed a little bit more. He might be stronger. He's definitely bigger, but Coleman's strength was legendary. Anybody who's grappled with him, has felt him, said he's had absurd strength. I think the striking would make a difference. Brock's speed, his athleticism, his movement. For being such a big guy, he moves so well. The wrestling probably would negate itself, and I can see Lesnar winning via decision. But both these guys were giants, monsters, very strong, powerful. Anything could have happened in this fight. One of those lunchboxes hits you from either of these guys, it's not going to feel good. If Coleman were to get Lesnar down on his back, I would reckon that he could finish Brock with ground and pound and control. But the same could be said the other way around. Pretty evenly matched, but Lesnar for me edges it out with the striking and the overall athleticism. So I'm going to say for me, with all respect to a pioneer and legend, Mark Coleman, love the guy to death. One of my personal heroes growing up and an inspiration, I give this fight to Lesnar 60-40. But you guys let me know in the comment section, who do you think would have won this fight, Prime versus Prime, Brock Lesnar or Mark the Hammer Coleman? Would love to read your thoughts. If this is your first time at the channel and you enjoyed this segment, consider subscribing, like and share. Appreciate you guys to the max as always. And until the next one, my friends, you all take care.